It was 3 in the morning. The city was silent. But strangely, no one here was asleep. The streetlights flickered slowly. The air felt frozen. It was as if time had stopped. No one really knew the name of this city. Some called it the Sleepless City. Others called it the Prison of the Awake. Sleep was no longer part of life here. There were no rules banning it, no revolution. But somehow, people had simply forgotten how to sleep whenever they closed their eyes. Anxiety would rise in their chest, their minds would spin, breathing became difficult, sleep became a threat, something unknown and unsafe. In the western part of the city stood an old library. A girl named Layla stopped in front of it. She held a worn notebook in her hand. Her eyes looked tired, as if she hadn't slept in days. She slowly pushed the door open and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust. Wooden floors creaked beneath her feet. The smell of old paper filled the room, and in one corner, an old man sat beneath a dim lamp. He wore thick glasses. He looked directly at Layla and asked, "Are you here searching for sleep?" Layla stayed silent for a moment. Then she quietly replied, "I don't really know what sleep feels like, but my grandmother used to say, there was a time when people closed their eyes at night and woke up with lighter hearts in the morning." The old man smiled softly. There was a tired light in his eyes. "You know," he said, "sleep was once the most natural thing humans had. Everyone had it freely, effortlessly. But today, sleep has become a luxury." Layla listened quietly. The man leaned forward. "Come, tonight, I will tell you the history of sleep, how the world once knew how to sleep and how over time we forgot." Layla slowly sat down in front of him, her eyes wide with curiosity. The old man opened a thick book from the table. He turned the pages gently. His voice softened as he began. "Our journey will begin far back in time. In a world where sleep came like the rhythm of nature, it arrived on its own, without alarms, without struggle. People slept and woke with the rise and fall of the sun." He looked up at Layla. "Are you ready?" She nodded. Double quotes. "Then close your eyes in imagination. We are traveling back through time to a world where sleep still lived. Long, long ago, there were no glowing cities, no phones, no TVs, no ticking clocks on the wall. People slept with the rhythm of nature as the sun dipped below the horizon. Darkness quietly spread across the land. That darkness was a gentle reminder. It was time to rest. People lay down on the bare ground, or on beds made of straw inside clay huts. Sleep wasn't a rule. It wasn't a task. It was a language of the body. Sleep came naturally, just like hunger does, silent, slow, and deep. Back then, no one worried about how many hours they slept. They didn't know about REM sleep. They didn't need sleep trackers or SMARTWATCHES. They simply closed their eyes when they felt tired and woke up with the sun. Early hunter-gatherers moved during the day. At night, they slept in small groups. One person would stay awake to keep watch while the others rested. It was built on trust. Trust that someone would guard them while they drifted into sleep. Sleep wasn't studied. There was no science around it. But there was rhythm. The rhythm of day and night. The rhythm between humans and nature in those times. Sleep was never a problem. Sleep was a kind of safety. A quiet place to heal. A quiet place to begin again. An old farmer, after a long day's work, would wash his face, sit beside a fire, and slowly, without even noticing, his eyes would close, and sleep would take him gently. Sleep had no fear in it, no pressure, no noise, just peace. Their sleep was still natural, undisturbed. Sometimes, they would wake up in the middle of the night. They would speak softly, maybe stoke the fire, and then fall back asleep again. This was called segmented sleep that came in 2 parts. A little sleep, a little wakefulness, then sleep again. It was part of the natural human rhythm. No one said, "You must sleep at 10 p.m. No one said, You need 7 hours exactly. Sleep was free, unmeasured, untouched by the world of time and deadlines. That was a world where sleep still belonged to people, where it came and went with the quiet voice of the earth. Layla listened closely. Her eyes were wide with wonder. She asked, "So people slept without rules back then?" The old man nodded slowly. "Yes," he replied, "their sleep was free. It was unbroken. That's why it was real." Layla's eyes began to feel heavy, but she didn't fall asleep. She was waiting for the next part of the story. The old man said, "Now we move forward to a time when people discovered the clock and began cutting time into little pieces." Layla asked, "Is that when sleep started to change?" The old man smiled faintly. There was a strange light in his eyes. "Yes," he said, "that's when sleep began to lose its rhythm. And that," he whispered, "is a story for the next chapter." Time moved forward, and the world began to change. One day, humans discovered fire. Then came the wheel, and eventually, they created the clock. And from that moment on, sleep began to lose its rhythm. Before clocks, people looked to the sky to tell time. The rising and setting of the sun was their calendar. Light and darkness guide one to sleep and when to wake. But when the clock arrived, time was no longer natural. It became human-made, a system, a schedule. People no longer slept when their bodies asked to. They slept when the clock told them to, and they woke when the alarm screamed at them. Sleep stopped being restful. It became an obligation, a task, something to complete. Then came light. First candles, then oil lamps, and finally, electricity, the day the world lit up at night. Darkness lost its place, and with it, sleep began to fade. Shops stayed open later. Factories kept running at night. Cities never truly slept again. That was the birth of shift work. Humans were told, "You can work through the night. We have lights. We have machines. We have clocks." But what they didn't have was sleep. Sleep was now chained to working hours. Who sleeps when? For how long was no longer decided by nature, but by business schedules. Sleep was broken into pieces. Some people slept in the morning, some in the afternoon, some at midnight. Sleep no longer arrived naturally. It had to be forced with pills, with exhaustion, with blackout curtains and closed doors. This was the moment humans first began to realize that they were losing something silent, something essential. Cities grew taller, buildings reached into the sky, lights stayed on all night, cars kept moving. The world refused to pause, and in this city of light, sleep lost its way. A tired office worker would return home at midnight, but couldn't sleep his mind, still stuck in emails and meetings. A factory worker would lie down after a long shift, but his body ached, and sleep felt like a struggle. That's when sleep advice began to appear. Change your pillow. Download this app. Meditate before bed. Don't use your phone at night. But deep inside, people already knew sleep wasn't simple anymore. Once, it came naturally. Now, it had to be chased. That was when sleep stopped being a gift and became a problem. Layla listened quietly. She didn't speak. She was thinking, "Are we still in that same battle today?" The old man said, "Clocks and light changed our nights, and those nights changed our sleep." Layla whispered, "So, will sleep ever return?" The old man paused. Then he said softly, "Sleep never truly disappears. It only loses its way, but it can be found again by those who are truly searching." Layla looked into his eyes. For the first time, there was a spark of hope, and the old man said, "In the next chapter, you'll see how screens, pills, and pressure pushed sleep even further away, and how we began to bring it back." Time moved on now. We hold smartphones in our hands, TVs in our rooms, laptops on our desks, Wi-Fi in the air, and sleep Sleep is surrounded by light. At night, people no longer look up at the sky. They look down at screens, scroll after scroll. One video leads to the next. And sleep doesn't come because the eyes aren't tired, and neither is the mind. We stay awake at night, just as actively as we do during the day. Our brains are always online thinking, reacting, consuming. We lie in bed, but our minds are elsewhere. We're working, we're watching, we're worrying. The blue light from screens tells our brains, it's still daytime, no need to sleep yet. The clock strikes 1 a.m. But the mind whispers, just one more reel, one more post. And sleep slips further away. Today, people don't trust their own bodies. If sleep doesn't come quickly, we think something is wrong, so we search for quick fixes. We want magic pills, a button to press, a guaranteed way to sleep on demand. Doctors write prescriptions, pharmacies stay busy. People buy sleep like a product. Some sleep with melatonin, some with meditation apps. Some just close their eyes and hope. But the question remains, is this real sleep, or just a kind of forced silence? Modern advertisements tell us buy this mattress and sleep better. Track your sleep with this device. Spray this scent and fall asleep instantly. Sleep has become a commodity, no longer a natural part of life, but a measurement of success. If you can't sleep, you're broken. That belief created an entire industry. Sleep trackers, SMARTWATCHES, reminders, and apps. Everything designed to manage sleep like a business task. And still we struggle to sleep because we are not calm, we are not quiet, we are never alone. We are filled with distractions from screens, from thoughts, from pressure. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's relationships, and sometimes it's just the first thought. We're not sleeping, which makes it even harder to sleep. Layla sat in silence, listening. Her eyes looked tired now. She finally asked, "So, is sleep a battle now?" The old man nodded. Double quotes, "Yes," he said. Sleep is a silent war. A war against noise inside and outside. A war against pressure, against light, against ourselves. Layla whispered, "Can we win this war?" The old man smiled gently. "Yes, we can. But it's not a war we fight with tools or apps. It's a war we fight within. We have to slow down, quiet our inner noise, turn away from the screen, and then sleep will return on its own, like an old friend you thought you had lost, but who never truly left." Layla's eyes filled with tears. Her voice trembled. "I want to sleep, truly sleep." The old man looked at her kindly. "Then you're ready," he said. "Sleep never disappears, it just loses its way. But it always waits for those who go looking. Come," he added softly. "Now I'll show you what the future of sleep might hold." The old man spoke softly. "Come, Layla, let's go to the future," Layla asked, a little surprised. "The future? Is sleep still alive there?" The old man nodded. "Sometimes alive, sometimes forgotten, but it always returns." We arrived in a city of the future. Everything was run by technology, even sleep. People now sleep with the help of machines. They enter a sleep pod. The pod decides when they sleep and when they wake. As soon as their eyes close, analysis begins, heartbeats, breathing, brainwaves. Sleep has become a software, a program, but not everyone follows this path. Outside the cities, some people have built sleep villages. They call themselves natural sleepers. In these villages, there are no screens, no clocks, no pills. At sunset, they turn off all the lights. They sit by the fire and tell stories. Slowly, sleep comes to them like an old friend. Layla asked, "Are people learning how to sleep again?" The old man smiled. "Yes, many now see sleep with respect. A quiet journey, where we meet ourselves. Sleep doesn't come just by closing eyes, it comes when you let go. But the future isn't all peace. In some places, sleep is sold. There are massive buildings called sleep hotels, where people pay to sleep for just 1 hour. Sleep has become a luxury. At the same time, some scientists are working hard. They're searching for the real kind of sleep natural. Deep sleep. They believe sleep never truly left us. It's just hiding deep inside. Layla said, I want to sleep, but not with pills, not with screens. I want the old kind of sleep, the silent.com and natural one. The old man smiled again. Then you're ready. Close your eyes. Tonight, your sleep will return. Final line. Sleep never disappears. It waits. And when you call, it returns. If you want to discover more deep and hidden histories of sleep, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel and stay with us on this journey. Because sleep is not just a habit, it's a silent story of our past, present, and future. Thank you for being with us. See you again in the next video.